looking at me.
Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? How are you doing today? Good afternoon, and welcome back into another reaction video. It's your boy, the multitasker, Mighty Avenger, at your service. I'm doing all right, just feeling randy, baby. But mostly, I'm just doing fine, just rest. And that's been pretty much it for me because yesterday it was a very exhausting one. So I am still trying to stay cool from this heat because it's still just exhaustion just being outside, and that's the last thing I want is to be out too long. But that's been pretty much it. So I'm not sure if any of you still remember that when I reacted of the games that are banned in countries, which I did 2 parts of it, and I'm still pretty shocked and understand why the Punisher game was banned and mostly being, censored, changing the filter when it comes to interrogation kills. So it's reasonable because anyone who are familiar of the comics, let alone that would be from whether it's just a standard of a Marvel comic brand or the Max imprint, it's still that is just gruesome. And that I never knew that the PC version that is completely uncensored, but to me, it feels like it needs to be remastered. You know what I'm saying? So screw the remake. I think it's much better that it gives us a HD quality, but that's just me saying that. So I got a new request from EBF, and that's the whole point I was talking about, because there is another video that's from Caddicarus, and this one he takes on some bad skateboard games, or the title that is known as The Awful World of Skateboarding Games. So it is an hour episode. Well, I'm sorry, this is an hour video. So like I did it before, so we're going to take a look on the first part. So this is considered part 1, and let's begin, and more importantly, time to react.
Oh God, I really hope I don't turn into a limited edition collectible vinyl figure.
Well, great, what am I supposed to do now?
Today's video is sponsored by me, in plastic form.
This isn't even my final form.
Do you want to get yourself a limited edition me?
I do!
You've already got one.
Yes!
Well, then all you need to do is head to the description right now, where I'm currently running a competition
seen a
with
lot
you
of
two
it when
to
it
give
comes
away
to up
3
that
of these
line.
amazing
That's not
figures
even
that will
my
be
final
signed
form.
by me.
But the real life me, not the plastic me.
All you have to do to enter is follow the link below and do any one of these 3 things to give yourself 1 new entry into the competition, or you can do all 3 for an extra 2 entries.
Oh boy, I love entries!
If you don't win this competition though, don't freak out and burn your house down, because on the 2nd of October at 12 PM PST or 8 PM British time, this adorable little monster will be available to the public for purchase. You gotta be quick though, because they're limited, and if you're not careful, I'll buy all of them.
What?
What? What?
Oh,
I
he
can't
said,
hear
let's
you.
skate it up.
Oh man, totally radical, dude!
What?
Come on, why'd you have to do that? Am I the only one that can still see the bricks outside? Like, I'm not going insane, am I? You can see them too, right? And you do know that if you jump out at them while wearing a face mask, they get really scared and run away? Why isn't everybody doing this? Well, whatever the case,
What?
we may not all be able to go out and skate on the streets for fear of running into another load of bricks and having a dive, but that's okay because we've got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 on the PS4. It's the next best thing. And in fact, I was so excited for the launch of this.
I didn't mean to pause, but I'm one of those suckers that actually bought this because I thought this was going to be, bring back the other throwbacks of the early days throughout of the PlayStation and N64. Yes, I used to rent that a long time ago. So continue.
Game that I couldn't resist. I had to get the collector's edition with the limited edition Birdhouse deck.
And oh boy, what a game it is. This is far from my favourite Tony Hawk game of all time in terms of gameplay and soundtrack, but it's so cool to see a HD 60 frames per second remake of two PS1 classics that give you so much more than just a simple remastering. You can manual and ramp revert in all the games to keep combos going, you can wall ride, you can wall plant, you can do ridiculous special tricks, you can spine and hip transfer. This is essentially a modern Tony Hawk game with everything included from the older ones, thrown into the mission-based gameplay style and level design of the original two pro skaters. And honestly, even though I'm not a fan of the frustratingly minuscule 2-minute time limit every time you just want to play, this is the best Tony Hawk game in my opinion for years. And you want to know why? Because you can turn yourself into Tom Thumb. And if that's too small for you, don't worry, because you can also turn yourself into the BFG.
Use those passwords.
Green Giant.
After putting a few hours into this little gem though, it gave me an itch that I haven't felt since the last time I went to the doctors.
I felt like going back through my shelves again and picking up the really old skateboarding games that I used to love as a kid. More specifically, Tony Hawk's Underground 2 Remix on the PSP and Tony Hawk's American Skateland on the DS. These two games I put so many hours into, and were not only the first Tony Hawk games I ever played, but the first skateboarding games I ever played in general, that further developed my my love for skateboarding as a sport. See this photo? This is the youngest photo of teenage me that exists on the internet, and what's that at the end of my arms? Why, yes. It's my hands.
You heard me right. You're talking to an ex-skater here. So after I played these two games here, I gathered up all the money I could. Can I pay you in screws? And then bought all of the skating games I could in order for me to make yet another ridiculously long video that will drive me to drink. But hey, I didn't want to start this marathon video off negatively if I'm talking about one of my favourite ex-pastimes, so I figured we could start the video nice and light with the impetus. The beginning, the first, the inspiration for every single console skateboarding game that would be released after this one.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm going there everybody, back to the original. So I hope you're ready to sit down and play some skateboarding on the Atari 2600. Skateboarding.
Yes, believe it or not, for home consoles at least, this is where it all started. Skateboarding. And let's not ignore it any longer. This box art here deserves to be preserved in a crystal cabinet in the National Gallery. The logo, the ghastly outfit, the Toys R Us sticker, the abrasive colour scheme,
Toys R Us?
that face. That disease of a
freaking way.
face. The face of a man who isn't only hungry for radical kickflips, but also your mum's thighs. I don't think I can wait any longer, so say it with me, everybody. 3, 2, 1, go! So yeah, this is skateboarding, everyone. This silent, terrifying vacuum is skateboarding on the Atari 2600. No sound, no music, no anything. Absolute entertainment? That's a bold claim. This was the peak of entertainment, was it? I say I'm absolutely entertained by staring at a little pink horse jockey, wondering if he's holding a skateboard or a giant hot dog. Okay, I need to be fair. This game was made in 1987 for the Atari 2600. This was the very first home console skateboarding game of all time. Not counting arcade games and home computer games, of course. So I need to judge this as a game of its time. Even though I'm walking around in silence around a ghost town while this clock counts down to when my heart stops to put this freak out of his misery.
There's not that much skating going on though, is there? So what do you actually do? I have no idea, but this is Atari, and it's got a joystick and one button, so we haven't really got much choice, do we? So let's press the button and see what happens.
Ah! Oh, look everyone! We're off! Look at me go! And listen to these sick beats!
You gotta be kidding me. So
yeah, I'm getting into this now. I feel like a kid
one
again. I'm
button
a skateboarding
that
maestro.
just
Nothing can
starts
stop
everything.
me now! Oh, the music stopped. Well, that was deflating.
But since we already look like a horse
You gotta be
jockey, you know
kidding
what
me.
they say about them? If they fall off the horse, what do? Get straight back on.
Anyway, I think I should take a look around and get a bearing on my surroundings. What's this here? What are you up to down there? Oh, well, whatever it was, he came out the other end with a tight grip on that hot dog. So you may be looking at this and wondering, what the hell am I looking at? And to be honest, I'm with you there. I have no clue what's going on. This was the era of games just kind of dropping you into the thick of it without so much as a cookie and expecting you to know exactly what it's trying to tell you. I mean, I know we can skate, I know we can crash, and I know that this indescribable thing is unable to be skated on, but we can also phase through the trees no issue at all, so your guess is as good as mine when it comes to what's going on. Oh, that's a ramp? I thought they were stairs. I guess this was before straight diagonal lines were invented. Well, whatever. We've got an objective now. Find all 30 ramps and jump off of them, while occasionally crouching down looking like you're propelling yourself with your own gas. So, yeah, this is the whole game. Find ramps, jump off of them. And don't worry about the trucks, they can't hurt you. You've got ginger hair, they don't stand a chance. But the best thing about this is undoubtedly the music, purely because the game is silent for every other moment, aside from when you jump on your skateboard. And that tune, my god, you cannot help but love it. Just listen to how jolly it is. This is up there with Super Mario Galaxy for greatest soundtrack in gaming history.
Oh.
And even better, you don't only have free control on when this bouncy little sea shanty starts, but whenever you bail and then start skating again, you reset the tune to the very beginning. Every single time.
Yeah, it's becoming a nuisance.
Okay, I'll do it, alright? I'm sorry! Tony, where are you? Save me!
Okay, I'm gonna stop teasing you. Here we go. This was the game I was talking about. The PS1 heavyweight that actually started a million new skating game trends and spawned 1,000 poor man imitators. Tony Hawk's Skateboarding. Okay, it's not as catchy as Pro Skater, but did you know that Proskater is a curse word in the UK? Yeah, it's true. It's very bad to say. So when this game came out in the UK, they changed the name of it. And if you don't like that, then you can suck my Proskater. Now, this was the one you were waiting for me to talk about, wasn't it? The good stuff, the original, the classic, the start of extreme sports games being so good that everybody will try copying it for years to come. The slow, the clunky, the lumpy, the not quite as good as your nostalgia would have you think. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. There is absolutely no point going back to Pro Skater 1, in my opinion, unless you survive off of disappointment. Don't get me wrong, this game is a classic, make no mistake. It planted every seed it needed to with the creative level design that took everyday locations and turned them into skateboard theme parks, and popularized the addictive gameplay loop of performing tricks while exploring to earn VHS tapes and unlock more levels. But there's so much not here, especially if you like the later Tony Hawk games. You can't manual to link tricks together on flat surfaces, you can't revert after landing from ramps, the level selection is pretty small, as are the levels themselves, and take around 3 attempts at maximum to finish. The controls feel a little on the heavy side, especially with getting air off of ramps. You can't wall ride or wall plant for more combo and level design potential, and it doesn't matter how hard you try or how good you smell, it's so easy to not land properly or outright clip through the obstacles. Tony Hawk Pro Skater is Crash Bandicoot 1. It's fine for what it is and amazing at the time compared to the competition, but nah, nowadays it feels like a bathroom trip after Mexican night.
But then there was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
This is where, in my opinion, the legend was truly born. Pro Skater 2 put the dev team Neversoft on the map because at this point, they gave up on realism and stopped making you feel like you were skateboarding on a recycling bin.
It doesn't work.
This was the beginning of creating your own skater, and you could call him Criff, who lives in the sink and is 5 years old. He also looks like this, but don't laugh at him. Criff is shy. This was where you could begin to use stat points that you earned in the campaign to max out all of your abilities and your balance sensitivity. This was where you could edit and customize your tricks. You could create and edit your own bloody parks. And how about the levels? There were more of them. They had a dump load more to do and far more secrets to see, with environmental pieces to completely destroy with your sickness. They came with cash prizes that you could spend in the shop for more customization options. You could be hit by trains. But more importantly, there were more tricks, which not only meant crazier scores, but way more ways to link them together, with the ability to manual on the street and wall ride across vertical surfaces. And then there were the cheats. Oh lord, the cheats. You can believe you can fly, you can become a big boy, you can escape the game, you can go on the Atkins diet, but easily the coolest part, you could be Spider-Man.
Look out!
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Wait, what? The judges only gave me 99.9.
But they
What do you
also
mean
have Iron Man.
99.9? Did you see what I just did? That's not enough for a full score. At least give me a chicken nugget.
Now, don't get me wrong, I'm still not a fan of the 2-minute time limit for the career mode. You could argue that it's arcadey and challenging, but I argue it's restrictive, stressful, and doesn't let you fully take in or explore the brilliant level design.
Yeah, there are
And if you
still
just so
some
happen to
frustrating
agree with
moments.
me on that,
Which you should.
then don't worry, because the Tony Hawk series eventually did get rid of it. They kept on being made, they kept on improving, nobody could stop them. Not even my mum. And she could stop a freight train by frowning at it.
There was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 that introduced ramp reverts to further keep your combos going after you got major air. There are hidden flips and grabs you can pull off by double tapping buttons, and you can be a Star Wars. There was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, which ditches the time limit for career mode and turns every level into a free roaming affair, along with the new ability to spine and hip transfer over ramps, skitch on the back of cars to pick up speed, double tap buttons while you're grinding and manualing to change the move that you're doing during the current grind or manual to add more to your combo score, and you can be a Star Wars. There was Tony Hawk's Underpants.
That's true.
There was Tony Hawk's Underground that gives you an entertaining story mode where you start from the bottom in a tacky dump neighborhood and rise to the top as you work with skateboarding pros who star as themselves.
Ah, my knee.
Oh, my knee! You can dismount your board to get around tighter level design a little easier. You can level up naturally as you skate around and unintentionally complete hidden challenges related to the types of tricks that you do. You can bounce off of the walls with a wall plant. You can spam flip buttons like crazy to do more than triple flips to your flip tricks. You can spam buttons to recover from bailing faster. And you can also do this. That's the thing you can do, isn't it? There was Tony Hawk's Underground 2. And it's the best game ever made. But you can also Nata spin on the top of small pillars, or is it Nata spin or Nata spin? I don't know. You can spray on the walls like a bad boy, but I mean spray with graffiti and not with Wii. Tony Hawk looks like an eggplant, and if you bail from a trick, you can tap buttons really fast and then break your board in half, which does absolutely nothing but waste your time. There was Tony Hawk's American... Jesus! There was Tony Hawk's American Wasteland, which is basically the same as all the other games, but felt much smoother and faster. Gives you much bigger levels that are interconnected with their own day and night cycle without any loading screens. There's a story mode that allows you to build your own park from scratch, and in my favourite feature, you can even ride a stunt BMX whenever you want to. How cool is that? I also had a major crush on this girl when I was a teenager, but she's not real, so it didn't work out. There was Tony Hawk's Project 8, and I'm not really sure what they were eating when they made this. This whole thing here, this is just completely unnecessary. Also, Tony Hawk looks ill. Is he doing okay? Oh, hey there, Rodney Mullen.
Right on.
You aren't looking too good either. And then there was Tony Hawk's Proving Ground that makes the balance meter take up the whole screen.
Okay,
and
Proving Ground,
it is really
I also
ugly.
play that too.
It runs like trash. Tony Hawk's Proving Ground.
And that concludes all of my thoughts on the mainline Tony Hawk games, specifically in the Neversoft era, which most people consider the only true era. And if you want to know my favourite one, I would have to go with American Wasteland, but closely followed in joint second place by Pro Skater 4 and Underground. And so, after Proving Ground came out, I suppose Neversoft couldn't prove to anybody that they should keep making Tony Hawk games, and immediately after they left, they were taken over by a new team known as Robo Modo, and they were going to take the Hawk to new heights. And then that same Hawk did a dive bomb into the sea and drowned, because the end of their era came to a halt with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5.
Released in 2015 for the PS4 and Xbox One, Pro Skater 5 came out to a fanfare of... Everybody hated this game when it launched, including me. For a game labelling itself as the 5th mainline entry after the fantastic Pro Skater 4 and the 17th Tony Hawk game in general, this honestly felt like a joke. And there are plenty of videos on the subject demonstrating exactly why that is. And the thing is, without playing it yourself, when you just see the game in motion, sure, it's not groundbreaking or anything, but it doesn't look like worst game of the year material, and that's why I ended up buying it, because it looks completely okay. In fact, when you play it, it even functions, dare I say. I thought everybody was exaggerating and jumping on the hate train 5 years ago, but after only a few minutes, you'd quickly understand where everybody was coming from. Well, I say quickly, but you still have to wait for the 8GB patch to download. Oh, what's that? You don't care about the online or network features and just want to start the game as it is without the patch? Okay, that's cool, that's fair. Well then, how do you feel about missing a massive chunk of the game that was supposed to be included at the start, but then had to be added in with this patch? This is awful enough right out of the gate, but to put this in perspective, Pro Skater 5's file size itself is around 4GB, meaning that the 8GB patch to fix the issues the game had was 200% bigger than the game itself. That's the same as going to the hospital because your wang is too big, but then having the problem sorted by being given another one triple the size of the last one.
Well, I mean, I'm not complaining. It's not a problem for me.
So, okay, maybe the 12GB total of game here is only because Pro Skater 5 is stuffed with content, and it's probably graphically insane compared to every other game in the series. Actually, no, there's absolutely nothing in this game, and it looks as pretty as a carnivorous plant. You'd never believe it, but Pro Skater 5 takes nearly every element that was tweaked and improved over the previous 16 years of Tony Hawk games and just completely gets rid of it. Creator Skater? Gone. A large number of levels? Gone. Varied and level-specific missions? Gone. Pedestrians? Gone. Large explorative levels with plenty of secrets? Gone. A huge number of real-life impossible tricks to customize? Gone.
You know when you're describing people that are miserable all the time and you call them a fun sponge? Well, that's what this game is. It's a fun sponge. Actually, that doesn't make any sense, because if you're a fun sponge, that means you're sucking up all the fun, which means that you're full of fun. So I guess that means you're a fun raincoat. There's no fun in here.
Oh, and the physics, the 12
fun.
gigabytes total worth of physics, they're not just gone. They left forever and don't even pay me child maintenance. In fact, 5 years ago, I did an entire video about the broken ineptitude this game seeps with.
Meh.
Which would be the tiniest bit more forgivable if the patch actually fixed the physics, and this wasn't a PS4 game that barely looked beyond the Pro Skater games on the PS2 and Xbox. Even the mission markers don't work. The mission markers! Because the only way you can activate them is by standing still after you find them, which in itself is pointless because you can just go to the pause menu and select them from there anyway. There's also this mechanic they added in. I don't know what it's called, but I'm going to call it the pissy plummet because that's all it does. It just pisses all over the combo score and ruins any run you're in the middle of. For some baffling reason, Robomodo decided to add in this feature where by pressing a button, you slam down towards the floor at tremendous force, which isn't the worst idea on paper, but when they made the button that activates it the same exact button as the grind, you'll quickly understand how irritating this is. You'll want to grind, but instead just flop into the concrete at 1,000,000 miles an hour, or you'll slam directly into the rails you tried to grind
more
on,
like
meaning
a
that stuff like this happens all the time. Taking away all of that, though, as a game itself and a PS4 mainline Tony
That's like
Hawk
a
game,
poor
it's one of the
man's
most
version
dreary
of
and
just-
stripped back
I
games
don't know
I've
what
ever
else you
played.
can
Every
think
single
of.
mission
I'm
is
trying-
copied and
I'm
pasted
trying
on
to think
every
of
level.
one
There's
thing
no
that
sense
kind
of
of
humor,
reminds me
no
of, but-
character, no atmosphere, no
But I
dialogue,
got none.
nothing. Get the balls out of this bowl and get the balls out of this bowl. Smash these things here for no reason at all and smash these things here for no reason at all. Race through these rings here and race through these rings here. I mean, I like these mission ideas
Why is that shit
individually,
reminds me of
but to just
Superman
reuse them
64?
over and over again with no bells or whistles in soulless levels over and over again on a
think this is
PS4
just
Tony Hawk
annoying.
game is just sad to me.
So what do you do if you're a skater and you want to play a skateboarding game, but you've had enough of Tony Hawk? I don't know. You play another game and get another random guy in it, like with MTV Sports Skateboarding featuring Andy McDonald.
Finally, two of my favourite things together. MTV and Andy McDonald had a fun. How does a 540 Benihana into a one-footed Smith grind sound?
High in cholesterol.
And if you don't know who Old McDonald is, don't worry, because there's 14 other pro skaters to choose from, like Colin
Danny
McKay,
Way.
Rick Howard, Heidi Fitzgerald, and Rob
Rob
Black.
Dyrdek.
Well, that's kind of redundant, isn't it? I mean, you can't get a light black, can you?
Ridiculousness.
What's my name? Imps. But as we will soon see, you can even pick between a load of original characters for the story mode, like Jason Case, Steve Seagull, and David Wastebasket. And then you've got my personal favourite, Anna Graham, who left her dinner on her face. I think, though, I'm going to pick Wendy Jones for the good balanced stats, and away we go. Whoa! Hey there, lady. I think you should go to the doctors. You've got a nasty-looking CD growth on your chest. Okay, so this game may be taking the same ideas as Tony Hawk, but I would say it was only in the naming. Andy McDonald feels like it keeps nearly everything the same as a Tony Hawk game,
It looks
yet adds in
choppy.
new methods of inputting tricks to avoid copyright infringement. So, like, instead of holding a direction button down and then pressing an action button to activate a grab, flip, or a grind, you hold the action button down first and then press a direction to perform the trick. Which wouldn't be too bad, aside from the fact that this control delay is shocking.
Not even kidding, check this out. Caddy no likey.
It's basically a Tony Hawk ripoff, but moves at the speed of an oil extraction. By the time the game even registers a trick, you've already flopped on the floor and died. Beautiful. I've got to say, though, the booing is a little unnecessary, especially when most of the time I go straight up a ramp and the game bails me for absolutely no reason. Why are you booing me? I went up in a straight line and Andy McDonald pushed me off my board. Are you booing me or the game? No big surprise here, but I did end up failing, and then I got this timeless bit of advice. You should try staying on the skateboard. And just for that sentence, I'm quitting the game forever. Bye-bye, Andy McDonald. Old McDonald had a farm. What do you mean he had a farm? Where did it go? Oh, what? Was that not mad enough for you? then you should try out Skateboard Madness on the PS2. Truly, this is a game for only the most mentally deranged of skateboarders. I mean, look at the madness going on here. Who is this man, and why is he tickling underneath his skateboard?
Tickle, 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 tickle.
And if there are any astute viewers of mine that have been around for many years, I'm sure that there's a logo on the box here that you recognize. For those of you who don't know, if you see this logo on any PS2 game, you run for the hills. You know how the Angry Video Game Nerd has his arch nemesis in LJN when it comes to atrocious game companies? Well, Phoenix Games are my personal LJN, and they have released some stonkers in the past, let me tell you. From Son of the Lion King to Dalmatians 3, all the way to Snow White and the Seven Clever Boys.
Wait, that was also on AVG.
They also made a game that didn't upset any minorities at all, and it was called Packing. And then they made Skateboard Madness, so let's check out what I'm getting myself into. My name is Let Me Out, and my character has no name. That's a bit ominous, so I guess I'll just have to make them up myself. Should I be Jonathan, 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 or Black Jonathan? I'm not even being insensitive when I say that. They all have exactly the same facial and body model. And you know what? I think I'll pick Jonathan. Let's kick things off nice and easily with a simple ollie. This bodes well. I just played a game with a jetpack mode, and even then, that game has more physics than this. What happens if you run into a rail? What happens if you jump on a rail? What happens if you jump up and try to do a 180 spin? What happens if you try to jump up a flight of stairs? What happens if you run dead straight into a wall? What happens if you go up a ramp? I mean, I suppose this does have its benefits sometimes, like when there's a big concrete bridge in your way. Don't worry, because Jonathan can go straight through it. The issue is, though, he can't do anything else. I have tried desperately to find more tricks than a heel flip and a kick flip, but I cannot for the life of me find any. On the other hand, though, I guess that doesn't even matter, because in a timed score counting match, landing kick flips doesn't even count towards giving you any points. Oh, well, sometimes it does. Oh, and sometimes the game will say that you did 3 kick flips, one after the other, when you weren't even doing anything. At least you weren't lying about this being mad. I will personally ship myself over to your house and give you a kiss if you can perform any tricks here and understand why they worked or how to do them again. Whenever I tap the grab button, I hold onto my board. Whenever I hold the grab button, I merely tap my board. Occasionally, when I take a jump off of a quarter pipe, I won't stop spinning around in midair even though I'm not touching any directional buttons. And the amount of times that I go up a ramp only to just smack down off my board for no reason is almost comical. Then you remember you paid money for this, and it's not funny anymore. I even tested the physics engine out by simply jumping off of a ramp, not touching anything, and coming back down. See you later! This isn't a joke. Look! Come on, Jonathan, you hateful shrew! How useless could you possibly be? Don't make me get another Jonathan out! The only good thing I can point out with this game is the fact that whenever you bail, Jonathan doesn't ragdoll or anything. He just turns stone dead and gives up, wondering how he got into this mess. And by the way, guess what year this game came out? Yes, I didn't make a typo.
2017.
Okay, actually I did. That is when this game came out. 2007. The year of Mass Effect, The Darkness, Uncharted, Bioshock, and Skateboard Madness, The Wrath of Jonathan. Also, Pro Skater 2 very nearly nailed everything we all love in good skateboarding games. And that came out 7 years before this. What is this game? I mean, the title is accurate. This is nothing but total lunacy. But how are Phoenix Games allowed to license these? Did Sony not even look at what they put that sticker on? Every Phoenix game I've touched so far has been the worst thing I've ever seen, and it's not like Sony were making a high profit margin off of them. They were bargain bin trash to begin with. Look, how did I land that? Extreme Edition. What does that even mean? Is there a moderate edition? Is there a version of this game out there that's worse than this one? Huh? Tell me, Jonathan!
I suppose I can only blame myself though, because what was I expecting from Phoenix Games? And they really are a phoenix, because every time you dispose of them, they manage to crawl back out of the ashes.
At this point, you're probably so sick of skateboards that you'd rather play a game that gets rid of the wheels entirely.
Well, this is shit.
And if you do feel like that, then aren't you lucky, because Airblade may just be the game for you. A forgotten little ditty on the PS2 released in 2001 and made by the same people who did the Burnout games.
Oh, yeah!
So as you can see, they're very good at making games with wheels,
I
which is why in Airblade you're playing a game that has no wheels. The simplest way I can describe Airblade is to take the time limit mission objective open-ended style of the Tony Hawk series and swap a plank of wood for a hoverboard. Yes, a hoverboard. And as ridiculous as Tony Hawk on a hoverboard sounds, for the most part, I feel like Airblade completely nails what it sets out to do. In fact, dare I say it's a hidden gem?
Hidden gem.
Look, it even has a story mode with cutscenes. This is our main character, Ethan. He sounds like this.
Oscar hijacked the stick? No wonder the suits are so bummed.
And because of that, I hate him. He also dresses like a traffic light. So the plot here is that Ethan's house is being raided by the government because of a strange package that his roommate? Grandpa? Friend with benefits received. Nobody knows what it is or why it's so important, but that obviously means we need to take it immediately without thinking about it and go on the run to become a fugitive.
That was great.
As it turns out, this secret package was actually a hoverboard, which Ethan magically knows how to use straight away, and then holy shit, you're able to do basically anything on it within 15 seconds of picking it up. Ethan is my kind of guy. My first time on a hoverboard was nothing like this. Like I said earlier, Airblade is basically Tony Hawk in terms of its arcadey mission-based structure and time limit, except here, it's way more linear. You get story-based missions that need to be completed one after the other, and completing each one increases your total time limit. To do these missions, it usually means initiating a sequence of tricks around the environment and pedestrians, or sometimes exploring the open-ended levels from top to bottom to find the correct thing to grab or grind across to reach higher places. The story mode itself is laughably tiny, and the cutscenes are admittedly awful, but I'll be damned, this is one of the smoothest running and satisfying skating games I've ever played. It takes a while to get the hang of it, but once you do, it feels as natural as breathing, and you're able to do some crazy flippy floppy Kingdom Hearts shit unheard of in other skating games. Up here on the screen is your boost meter, which I suppose you could also say is your fuel. It doesn't stop you from moving if it runs out, don't worry, but this boost meter is needed to not only speed up around the level and give yourself more air up ramps, but is also used up by pressing and holding the jump button to give you a small hover and glide depending on how much boost you have. These two abilities, especially for the timed missions, are vital, so how do you get more boosts? Well, you do more tricks, of course, and where linking them together during one large mid-air combo spinning around poles and landing on rails is preferable, emergency boost fuel can be given to you by simply hitting the flip trick button, because I don't know if you noticed, but you float, meaning that you can do unlimited flip tricks without bailing, which is also used for attacking enemies. Airblade is far from amazing, but colour me impressed because this is the most original arcade skating game I've ever played. It controls fantastically, looks great for a 2001 PS2 game, runs as smooth as butter, and yeah, the music isn't amazing either. I mean, one track sounds like someone left the kettle on.
This is one game that I don't think
but I would say this
played.
Is certainly a diamond in the rough.
But if, God forbid, you're offended by hoverboards or offended by small game titles, it's okay, because you can always play Town & Country Surf Design's Pearl City, Hawaii Wood and Water Rage.
This here is the first NES game I've ever gone out of my way to actually talk about in depth on this channel. And judging by the cover art, I don't think I could have picked a better one.
But I don't know. Despite Town & Country Surf Design's Pearl City, Hawaii Wood and Water Rage being the most ridiculous name for a game I've ever seen, this could be another Airblade. It could be another hidden gem, a secret masterpiece, a Nintendo classic.
No. Yeah.
I literally just mentioned you. Is this an omen? If I say something bad, will it just
No,
appear?
because it's from
well,
LJN.
Gun! Oh, well, thank you very much.
Just my luck, eh? The first NES game I ever take a look at for this channel, and it's a game made by one of the most infamously bad companies of all time. But surely it can't be any worse than a Phoenix game, could it?
Are you sure about
It boots up
that?
to the title screen, and
Always
it's
wanted to say that.
confusing. What is this supposed to be? What's going into it? Is it water? Why is it flying? Why are there trees swimming? What's going on over here? And what's this noise supposed to be? Is that meant to be the ocean waves or someone shuffling in a chair? We've got 3 separate games to pick here, but this is a skateboarding video, so let's just take a look at that one for now. Who do I pick then? The coolest dude in the world? Or a potato? Well, okay, this doesn't seem too bad so far. It looks okay, sounds okay, controls okay. Was this peeved nerd a little too harsh on LJN in all of his videos? We can move, we can jump off the board to get past this thing here, we can not jump off of the ramp, no biggie, we can keep going, and we can even ollie over this clump of barrels a few seconds into the stage.
It's so slow.
Oh, maybe I pushed the wrong button. Okay, let's try B.
And we can even ollie over this clump of barrels a few seconds in.
A and B together?
And we can even ollie over this clump of barrels a few.
Okay, this game is a massive C word. And what's the word? Well, you know what they say. You can't say country without tree.
Okay, I get it now. This LJN hate, totally justified. Sorry, nerd, I should never have doubted you,
I think
my
I know
lord.
what he's trying to say, so I ain't gonna go that far.
This is just
Hell no.
not very nice. The weird thing, though, is that if you look online to see what the hell you're supposed to even do, you can see that... What is this? It's a video! I mean, it's somebody doing an ollie. They can jump over the barrels without grinding their face into the concrete. But how do you even do that? I mean, start pauses the game, select us for the menus, which then leaves us with only 2 buttons to work with. And B makes us push the board faster, while A does the dumbass rocket up to space without the thing that I need to land back onto. You know what, I'm just gonna mash buttons and see what happens. Oh! What was that? I did a grind! I grinded. Grinded? Ground? Greened? Either way, I figured it out. You have to hold back while pressing A to do an ollie, allowing you to leap over ramps and, of course, those infamous barrels I love so much. So, that's it, right? I've got the controls down, so the rest of the game must be a breeze.
No.
So get a load of this shit. What you have here is an auto-scrolling obstacle course, which would be fine to deal with, except you have a very tight time limit to reach the end of a stage, meaning that you have to rush. And rushing in Town & Country Surf Design's Pearl City, Hawaii Wood and Water Rage is a recipe for failure. Look at this. You can't see anything that's flying at you off screen. You can't judge depth and distance when going quickly on this 2D
My little minor complaint is that where are the instructions that, you know, when you're supposed to do a jump, when it comes to doing an ollie trick or grind the rail? And I'm starting a little suspected that there are anything in the booklet. LJN.
And you get respawned on slowing down surfaces right next to ramps, meaning that you then can't speed up enough to clear holes in the floor. This game was clearly made by a load of lumpy, jiggly nutcases. If you slow down too much and stay careful, you run out of time. But if you go too fast, it's unplayable. So what do you want me to do, Town & Country Surf Design's Pearl City, Hawaii Wood and Water Rage?
Ooh, what's that? You want me to try another game from the main menu? Well, then I will.
Let's see what this surfing game is about, then.
Oh, the infamous surfing.
It's awful. Okay, then, how about game number 3, Wood and Water Rage? This is what the game itself is named after, so maybe this is the best bit. Oh, look, it's exactly the same game as the skateboarding one.
Sweet release.
Wood and Water Rage sounds like something you catch when you're pregnant. Okay, I'm done with all of these skateboarding games that aren't endorsed by Tony Hawk, so I think I'm gonna have to crawl back to him with my tail between my legs. If there's any patterns emerging here, it's that if you want a consistently decent skateboarding game, you go to Tony Hawk. So I suppose it's time to check up on him with Tony Hawk's Downhill Jam.
And no, this isn't a terrible recipe for a sandwich.
I'm too hungry for waiting for this shit.
It's a Tony Hawk game made as a Wii launch title. Saying that though, Tony is looking really angry on the box here, almost like he's hungry for some jam of his own. God, it has been years since I booted this thing up. I can't wait to give it a whirl.
Are you ready?
No!
Weirdly enough, of all people, this game was developed by Toys for Bob. Yes, the Spyro Reignited Toys for Bob, the Crash 4 Toys for Bob, the Madagascar Toys for Bob. I don't know how you can go from Gloria the Thick Hippo to heavy metal skating, but at least they still have the demented clown music. My name is Fneep. And since this is a Wii launch title, do you know what that means? Yes, forced motion controls, meaning that you tilt the remote to move left and right. And as we all know, this won't be a problem at all because Sonic did that so perfectly.
So what's my verdict on Tony Hawk and the Secret Rings?
Don't give me Sonic.
It's alright. It's unnecessary, but it's alright.
I say it's unnecessary because at the end of the day, tilting a motion controller to steer is less responsive than simply pressing a button. But if you just have to do it this way, like if your wife was tied up in the kitchen of a cannibal and the only thing that could save her was tilting motion-controlled skateboarding, it could have been done a lot worse. Firstly, this is primarily a racing game, thank God, so free movement isn't an issue since you're on rails and only need to concentrate on steering. So it's pretty focused at least, and not like this. But trying to take this and move it to forced motion controls and only 2 extra action buttons is really clumsy. Speeding up, ollieing, and grabs are the same button, while flip tricks and grinds are the same button, and balancing on a grind is done with tilting, which is exactly what you do for turning your body in mid-air and turning left and right in general, meaning that you'll do a lot of accidental spins and tricks when you're trying to exit a rail that you're already balancing on, just like right there. And you could just ignore doing tricks and focus on the race downhill, but in order to get turbo, which is damn near essential for winning a race, you need to at least try doing a few of these tricks, meaning that I did a lot of whinging. The game looks fine for a Wii launch title, I suppose,
there's
except
other
for Tony
obstacles
himself.
that are in the way. I mean, that's going to be a little hard to do.
But yeah, I can't really say much else about this one, because it's just okay. It would have been more fun if it was a train wreck, to be honest.
You can tell that girl works out. Although, don't tell her I said that.
Tony, you're 52.
And that's exactly how old I felt when I decided to play SpongeBob SquarePants Surf and Skate Road Trip on the Kinect.
What? Okay, I have a feeling that this is gonna be even suck more than the Wii version of the Downhill Jam, and thank goodness I don't have the Wii, let alone ever have a Wii U, because I'm pretty sure it could have been a lot worse. But at the same time, I wish I have the Wii, to play some classic games. Even like the version of Contra Rebirth, I would accept that. But I never knew there was a skateboarding game that was made by Phoenix, and judging from other titles that they look like 100% crap, including the one that I think it was more like a box art on AVGN that he explains and narrates it down of how trash it looks. So I never see the gameplay, and I probably that it's better that way because it looks god awful, especially how glitchy and that you fall so easily. It's trash, man. I don't know what gave the reasons that it was considered as an okay game to give it as a green pass and let alone be on sale. Yeah, yikes. Well, I think that just serves it as a decent video, but I'm just only halfway there. So that is part 1, and I will continue where I left off on SpongeBob's skateboarding game on the Kinect. And I have a feeling that it's got to be even much more worse than it is with Dragon Ball Z on the Kinect, because I never actually played. I saw little caps, little footages. It's more like you're doing exercise. But that would be it. But there are still a lot of stuff going on. So part 2 will be for another day. So until then, hit the like button if you enjoyed, or that you still have a love for skateboarding games. And also leave your comments down below, and I will catch y'all in the next video. So take care, guys, and be safe.